Hey everybody, it's me, Kerry, here with our weekly weather report via the Vedic Astrology lens. Thanks for tuning in. If you've just found me and you're new and you're interested in astrology, please note that I am a Vedic astrologer. We use what's called the sidereal zodiac, which is a little off from what most of Western astrology uses, called the tropical zodiac. So if you're reading things and then you're watching me and you're like, this woman is insane and she doesn't know what she's talking about, that's possibly why. Because I'm using what's called the sidereal, that's spelled Sidereal zodiac. You can look it up and check out what that means. It's essentially the observable constellations. We're looking at the planets in the observable constellations. Okay, so let's get into the report for this week. It's July 4th today. Happy Independence Day. If you're a U.S. resident or citizen, you might be celebrating today. It's the 250th birthday of the United States. We made it. Anyway, so happy 4th to you. So we're looking from Sunday to Saturday. That's what I consider a week. So July 5th through July 11th is what this video is about. The main themes I have this week are retrograde Mercury, which flipped on the other day. And we also have the final pulse of our Kala Amrita Yoga, which I've been talking about for a few months. And that this will be the last one. That last pulse is going to be from the 6th to the 16th of July. Moon is waning also. So with the waning moon and the Kala Amrita Yoga and the retrograde Mercury, it may feel like a little bit of delays this week as you're trying to move forward. Could feel like things are a little slow. So knowing that, put your patience cap on. What else? Okay, so the week is going to start out with the moon in Aquarius. It will move through Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, and then land up in Taurus by the end of the week. The first 3 days of the week, so let's say Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we're having Aquarius and then Pisces for 2 days. Rahu is in Aquarius still through November of 2026, and Saturn is in Pisces still through February of 2028. Saturn takes his time. So those two planets sitting next door to each other in those signs, that's going to be the story for the next 6 months until Rahu and Ketu move signs. When the moon is moving past either of them, it's a little disturbing to the moon. Rahu is kind of chaotic and rocking and shaky energy, unpredictable, and Saturn feels like pressure and limitation and sadness and difficulty. So when the moon, our most vulnerable planet that doesn't have its own light but just reflects the light of the sun, when that moon is passing by, troublesome or challenging energies like that, we can feel that too in our mind and body. So knowing that Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, if things get a little wobbly or a little difficult, buckle in. You're going to get through it. We're all going to get through it. But just take your time, slow down, especially with the retrograde Mercury energy feeling kind of heightened. It's like a feeling of anxiety or heightened or I have to hurry. That's the feeling. And that's probably the worst thing you can do is hurry. Slow down. All right. So that's the beginning of the week. This is where we might figure out what's not working. We might get even more clues about what do we have to not do anymore. What is finished? What can we release that's causing friction in our life? So once moon gets into Pisces, it's going to click on into that Kala Amrita Yoga energy again. So for new people, I'll say what that is. It's a combination of planets. It's not super traditional in the Vedas, but it is noticeable. It happens when all of the 7 visible planets are within 5 signs squished between the nodal axis. There's 2 forms of it. Kala Sarpa Yoga and Kala Amrita Yoga. When all of the planets are moving toward Ketu as they are now, it's the Kala Amrita Yoga version. And what that feels like in general, because the moon escapes that bind for 2 weeks-ish every month. So we get these 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and kind of rhythm with that. And when the moon gets into the side where all the other planets are, that's the total format of the yoga. Now, what has happened in the last week is that Venus moved into Leo. That puts Venus over there in Leo with Ketu, which somewhat modifies that energy. It makes things feel less like I can't do anything about it. And the one who can help us do something about it right now is Venus. And that could feel like negotiations and diplomacy and kindness and compassion and empathy. So whatever's been blocking your road, blocking your path, seeming impossible, it's Venus energy in a way that can help us bust around that block. Venus can be a person. Venus can be a relationship. Venus can be art. It can be music, it can be performance, especially with Venus and Ketu in Leo. So use your imagination. I'm giving a forecast for every person in the world who all have different charts. So this is very general. Okay. All right. Then, so that's the idea of this Kala Amrita Yoga. It will end by mid-month when the moon moves into Leo, goes past Ketu, it'll be over. And this has been a few months that we've been having this happen. So think back to April, May, and June. And can you identify a pattern that felt like, I'm ready to go, and then you get stopped, and I'm ready to go, and you make your adjustments, but then you get stopped? That's the feeling. So each time we're stopped, it's frustrating, but it's also an invitation to go deeper and to go inward and to figure out if the block is coming from inside or outside and what we need to adjust so our progress can go forward. So this is the week and next week, because the 16th is really the end of that energy, 16th of July. Okay, so once the moon passes into Pisces, that's kind of turned on again. Feels imbalanced. It feels a little like lopsided. So explore that. On Wednesday and Thursday, the moon will go into Aries. And so once that happens, yes, the Kala Amrita Yoga thing is happening. But also there's another combination where when we have planets in adjacent signs and contiguous signs, it feels like things are rolling. It's called Graha Malika Yoga. Graha means planet, Malika means necklace, and yoga means combination. So I feel like those 2 days of this week, Wednesday and Thursday, when the moon is in Aries, that gives us like one from one lily pad to the next. You know, there's a planet in each sign. And so that might, while Sunday, Monday, Tuesday might feel a little herky-jerky, Wednesday and Thursday could feel like, okay, things are starting to roll. I see where I need to go. Of course, remembering that the moon is still waning and Mercury is still retrograde, so we're not rushing through any of this. We're flowing. Venus likes to flow too. All right, so that's the moon on Wednesday and Thursday. I want to also point out that on Tuesday, we're going to see that retrograde Mercury going back into Gemini. Mercury went retrograde last week. Speaking of 4th of July, it was funny. Mercury went retrograde, and then within 2 hours, like 50 different towns in Colorado where I live announced that they were not doing the fireworks shows because we're having high fire danger here. So that was just something I noticed. Like Mercury went retrograde, all the all the fireworks off. You know, it was done. So Tuesday, Mercury's going to be slipping back into Gemini. He'll be retrograde until the 23rd of July, and then he'll go direct in Gemini. So that's another thing that's happening on the, on the tail end of Tuesday when things feel a little friction like. And a note on Mercury retrograde. Yes, it can be frustrating when things go awry, like we made a clear communication and it was received not like we thought, or we checked our schedule and got all ready and then something beyond our control happened where the schedule changes. These are Mercury retrograde kind of things. Oh, whoops, I forgot to back up my computer and it crashed and I've lost all my data. These are dangerous Mercury retrograde things. So it is good to slow down and double check and back yourself up. So those are just general Mercury retrograde advice pieces. Okay, Friday and Saturday, the moon will move out of Aries and into Taurus. It's joining up with Mars. So moon and Mars together on Friday and Saturday. Waning moon, but it feels really grounded. It feels like grounded energy. Let's stay home and enjoy some good meals. It's like that feeling to me. So that's kind of the moon's trajectory for the week. Plus you got the retrograde Mercury. Even though the moon is waning and Mercury is retrograde, we still have to live. We still have to make decisions, make actions, and do things. I'm trying to find, when I see a good day for things, I'm trying to let you know what that good day is. Something I noticed for Saturday, the 11th, and it kind of bobs in and out through the week. So I'm gonna throw something at you. There's a thing called Pushkar Navamsha. I know, big words. Pushkar means like a lotus, actually, like a lotus flower. It implies beauty and purity and heaven and good stuff. So it's a positive word. I'm not going to explain how this is all calculated, but I will tell you what a Navamsha is. All right, because we're talking about these nakshatras every day. I'm telling you what about to tell you what nakshatra the moon is in. So the nakshatras are a division of the 360 degrees of the zodiac. We know our 12 signs. Each of them are 30 degrees. 12 times 30, 360. Over top of that, we can lay the nakshatra map. Nakshatras are the moon signs, whereas the signs we think of are the sun signs. They are defined like Aries, Taurus, Gemini. The sun moves through each of those in about a month. So the signs that we think about are really sun generated. So the nakshatras are moon generated. It's a 27-fold division of the zodiac. And each of those 27 divisions is 3 degrees, 20 minutes. So if you multiply that, you'll get to 360 as well. So because of the weird amount of each nakshatra, which is 13 degrees, 20 minutes each, times 27, they don't exactly line up with the signs. Some of them are entirely within a sign. Some of them will span between signs. Okay, so even finer than a nakshatra. Oh, yes, the moon moves through one of those per day. That's the big news. Each nakshatra is also divided into 4 padas. Pada means feet. So each nakshatra has 4 little sections. Each of those sections is 3 degrees 20. minutes. And so certain of those in certain signs are very auspicious places. This is how we get the Pushkar Navamsha situation. I know, I came out with this whole big thing today. Anyway, what I noticed is that on Saturday there's like 4 really good ones. Saturday might be a good day, even though it's Saturday, even though the moon is waning, even though all of the other things. The sun, the moon, Mars, and Jupiter are all going to be in Pushkar Navamshas on that day. So those kind of days are considered really good to do a thing. If you have them in your birth chart, it's also not bad to have Pushkar Navamsha. So anyway, Saturday, think about it. If you have to do something, maybe that's the day. Okay, let's go day by day. I'm going to tell you the nakshatra of the day and anything that comes into my head. And I'm going to share my keywords with you. To make the keywords, it's an intuitive thing on my part. I look at the day, I look at the chart of the day, I look at the nakshatra, I look at the tithi, I look at the lord of the day, and I just let the words fly out. So here we go. This is Sunday, July 5th. You can see that the moon is with Rahu, but a little further down in the sign, so it's moved past the Rahu zone. This is Purvabhadra nakshatra, which is mostly in Aquarius, but it spans over into Pisces. As I mentioned, the moon and Rahu together can be a little wiggly, a little staticky, a little confusing. So maybe Sunday isn't the day we do detail work. But the words for Sunday are innovative construction. The innovative part comes from the Rahu factor, in the sense that when things aren't perfect, it's an opportunity to think bigger or to think in a different direction. And the tithi of the day is good for starting and building things. So innovative construction on Sunday. Maybe it only gets an inch off of the ground, but you figured out how to do it. Okay, so Monday is the 6th of July. I'm trying to make this go forward. I don't know why. My system's working really slow today. Oh, I know why. Because I'm doing 15 minutes. You guys. Hold on one sec. Let me get reset here. I apologize for the delay. See, Mercury retrograde even works on me. Goodness. All right, now we're going to Monday. So you'll see that the moon moves into Pisces by Monday. It's the next nakshatra called Uttarabhadra. Together, those two are a pair, Purvabhadra and Uttarabhadra. There's a lot of fiery energy in those two nakshatras. Even though it's an air sign and a water sign, there's still a little bit of fire. This is... You can see that the moon today on Monday doesn't quite hit up with Saturn. That'll be Tuesday. So nonetheless, you could start feeling a little bit of sluggishness on Monday, maybe a lack of motivation. Serious foundation is the key word I came up with for Monday. Serious foundation. So when you're not sure what you're doing or how you're going to get there, figure out where you're standing. Simply put, get serious about where you're starting, whatever it is you think you want to start. So that's Monday. Tuesday is the 8th. No, it's the 7th. July 7th. This is a Revati nakshatra. So Moon and Saturn will both be Revati on Tuesday. This is also the first full day where we see Mercury back in Gemini. So it's kind of in Monday night into Tuesday morning. Mercury moves back into Gemini, getting close with the sun again. But remember, Gemini is Mercury's own sign. Could feel like even though we're walking backwards on things and editing and redoing, it might feel like you get a little more speed with whatever it is you're having to do the second time. Okay. Remove friction. That is the keyword for Tuesday. So if you're feeling the friction, if you're feeling frustrated, take it into your own hands and figure out what has to slide away so that you can get your work done. Wednesday is 8th of July. This is Ashwini Nakshatra, the very first little slice of the zodiac, very healing-oriented nakshatra, very quickly moving nakshatra. And remember, I said once the moon gets to Aries, all those signs are full. We've got a planet, at least one planet in each sign, so it feels like things are going to flow. Maybe not in the direction we want. That's why we have serious foundations and we remove friction. So Wednesday's word is clean slate. Ashwini Nakshatra is good for healing, as I said. It gets to be a very deep energy with Ashwini. It's Krishna Navami on Wednesday, and that's where the cleaning part comes. It's like, just clear it out. If you're not sure and you can't see where you're going, just wipe the blackboard, clean the mirror, wipe your windows. Things will become more clear. Okay, July 9th is Thursday. Moon is in Bharani Nakshatra. It will move almost the rest of the way through Aries during Thursday. Cautious engagement is what I've got for you for Thursday. Thursday is Jupiter's day. Jupiter is in a really good position. You know, I'm talking about that Pushkar Navamsha thing. For most of the week, Jupiter is in that, at least Jupiter is in that state. The sun and the moon and Mars kind of come in and out of it until Saturday. But all week, Jupiter's in a pretty good zone. So with caution, cautious engagement, you know, we have to plant a seed here and there. That's going to be Thursday. Friday is the 10th of July. And Kritika Nakshatra is where the moon starts the day, 29 degrees 15 at the very beginning of the day here in Colorado, but then it quickly moves into Taurus, joining Mars on Friday. For the most part, Friday and Saturday are that moon and Mars combination. Kritika is a hot, fiery, sharp nakshatra. And Krishna Ekadashi is a good day also for cleaning, fasting, and sort of everyday things. My word for Friday is fire break. Yes, I live in a western state where we're very scared of fire, and the smoke has been in the air all week. That full moon last week looked really cool because it was red because of the way the air is here right now. Even the sun rising was very red last week. So fire break. Yes, it's actually a tool for fighting fires, but the idea is that when a raging thing is coming at you that you have to confront, one of the ways to do it is to sort of plow out the ground, take away the fuel so the fire can't rage right up into your face. That's firefighting 101. So fire break, you can take that symbolically. Okay, it's what it's saying, and this is really coming from the Mars energy aspecting the Ketu Venus energy in Leo. It's like Mars is very fiery, but is in a grounded sign. Ketu is very fiery in a fiery sign. Venus is the firefighter. So that idea of whatever heat, whatever aggression, it's time to make that fire break. Get grounded, figure out what your position is, and maybe just take a moment on that Friday. Because Saturday, the 11th, is that Pushkar Navamsha day I'm talking about. Moon is in Rohini. Great nakshatra for the moon. Exaltation of the moon actually happens in Kritika on Friday. But we still like the moon in Taurus. As you can see on Saturday, the moon and Mars are exactly conjunct there, right around 14 degrees Taurus. Fresh start, keywords for Saturday. So, auspicious day. If you need to take an action this week, it might be Saturday to go with. And that is my report for the week. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I love hearing from you. And I'll keep it up. So I hope you have a great week. Happy 4th. Take care of yourselves. Go slow. Mercury's retrograde. Enjoy.